To be honest.
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 To be honest, I'm tired of entering an elevator and looking at the other black people wondering if I should talk first or not.
Being a woman of color means to me strength,
Inclusivity.
Being bold.
It's a very centralized part of who I am.
My identity, how I see myself, how I view the world.
The world will see me in a way that I don't see myself initially, but it also gives me such a great source of power and drive.
I remember I gave a presentation on being a POC at a PWI and like how I felt about it, how it needs to be reformed. And when I was giving that speech, I felt like I was talking to people who just didn't know what I was saying.
Here, I feel like I'm walking to class with my head down every day. It feels duller. There was a lot more color in my life back in high school.
I love being the little token. It's so fun. So I had this class that I almost never showed up for. It was African American Studies. I didn't show up because I figured I had it in the bag. I was like, African American, check. Studies, I go to school. I got this. But I was the only African American in the class aside from the teacher. And so whenever he would ask about African American culture to the class, they would all just go to me as if I was the source for all African American things. I'm like, I don't know nothing about black people. Only thing I know about is Barack Obama. I can't help you guys here.
It was like multicultural literature class, so the whole thing was talking about non-white people. And the whole class was white, and I was kind of expected to like speak up on behalf of all these things and like defend all of these things. Like we were reading an August Wilson play, and like the professor was like, does anyone have to say anything about this as like a person of color? And I was like, this is very awkward. You really didn't have to say that.
Sometimes it's like I don't feel like speaking up for a whole race of people.
In the classroom, I've had situations where men think that just because they have an opinion that they are right, and they're not used to a woman of color speaking their mind. And then if she does, she must not be correct, or she must not be thinking about it.
And I'm often the only woman of color in most of my classes. So it's something I've become accustomed to, but I've learned that I don't really have to speak up.
The connection with the material goes from, this is real, this happened, these are raw emotions, this is what's up, to, yeah, so in the literature, we can see as if it's not reality. Like someone didn't experience these emotions.
My high school experience was diverse. I was friends with all types of groups, mostly the black community, but it was easier. I felt more comfortable where I was. It was fun. I felt safe. I could tell my jokes. I could rock around. I could dance in the hallway. I was dancing in the hallway every day.
So I started my own club called Saga, which is a social and global awareness. And I started that club just to make sure everyone had a place of their own. Every POC had a place of their own.
I'm from buttfuck, middle of nowhere, New Hampshire. My family was the only black family in the town, and then there were a few adopted Asian children in the town, not in my house. And so coming to Emerson College, I was like, wow, Negroes exist outside of my home? Incredible. So I wasn't in too much of a culture shock my first year at Emerson College. And then I visited other universities, and I was like, there are even more brown people?
I went from being around people that we all look different, but we don't point that out, we just look different, to a place where because I look different, I stand out.
My high school experience is very similar to my college experience in the fact that I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, a very white state with a very white high school that I went to. It was very kind of self-segregated, so a lot of people of like the same race and like ethnicity would hang out together.
If I wasn't a woman of color, I don't know what I would be doing, where I would be, because so much of what I'm passionate about is creating a voice for women of color.
As a woman of color, you always have to be the strongest one in the room.
I don't know if I would be inspired to make the art that I am currently making, Because a lot of the art that I make is based on the struggle or the feelings that arise from going to this school.
The first week here was a mess for me. It really sucked. But you know what? You have to go out and find the people that you can mesh with. I feel like once you put yourself out there and don't be afraid to do that, it'll be a little better. It'll get better.
Kind of channel this to be more of motivation instead of disencouragement.
It's okay to be proud of being a woman of color, and it's okay if you're not completely comfortable with that yet, but there is chance for growth and there is chance to become happy about that and proud of that. Know that there are spaces for you. There are groups and people who are out here to promote women of color.
We need to constantly remember that when everyone else is against us, we have each other. We need to be supportive for each other. We need to be there for each other. We need to encourage each other, give each other opportunities. And that's how we become stronger as people, but also as a community.
So all women of color, I want you to know that you are amazing. You represent a beautiful group of people, and keep doing what you're doing at a PWI because you stand out, you shine, and you are just amazing.
To be honest.
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 To be honest.